Hey, hey, hey. Hey, how are you? This is Daniel Rosendi, and today we're going to have an international look on the three different types of immigration in the West. And this is the photo of the day. It's me working in construction/painting in Naples, in Italy, back in January 2024. Didn't last long, and those are not the proper clothes, I know, but it is what it is. And since we're talking about immigration, I thought it would be a fitting image. Now, let's talk about immigration, and there's no better place to start with than Europe. In Europe, there's about 13 million refugees and about 45 million people who are born outside the EU. Obviously, if you count Europe as a whole, it will be more if you count the UK, if you count Switzerland, etc. But that's the data I found more easily. Uh, Immigration in Europe is very necessary, not only due to the demographic crisis that Europe is facing, where people don't have kids and you need people to work, but also because immigration in general is good. If you're an immigrant and you love the country you're moving to and you're going there to work, to produce, to have a useful job that maybe local people don't want or can't have at the moment, can't like actually fulfill at the moment, immigration is great. But literally a third of people moving to Europe, they're refugees. They don't even want to move to Europe. They're either kicked out due to war, due to terrorism, or due to famine or whatever. And so the problem with Europe is a lot of those immigrants are not integrating properly. And you see that in the news. You see that in well, we see today with violent crime going up and integration levels going down. And the people that are moving to Europe generally, especially as refugees, but also overall, they have a different idea of what it is to have a good country, what it is, what sort of space religion should have in public life, that sort of thing. So it is creating some tensions in Europe. Now, Europe does have an efficient student to residency to PR pathway, which is good, but it's kind of overshadowed by the fact that it has so many refugees and that it has so many people that kind of lack integration. And it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you don't have kids, you need immigration. But then if you have immigrants that hate your kids and that hate you, then that's not much use either, is it? So Europe is in a very dire situation. In the US, it's a bit different. Just like Europe has a lot of refugees, the US has an extremely high number of illegal immigrants. It just has. And another very interesting factor about US immigration is that if you go to the US, you're either a top talent or you're an illegal. There's no mid-skill migration to the US. You're either a CEO, a manager, a business owner, actor, an athlete, where you just get a green card for that, or because it is so hard to immigrate to the US, it's so hard to get a visa, to have a green card, etc., you're an illegal, pretty much. So it's either very low educated, very low level labor, low skill illegals, or it's really, really high top talent. And there's no mid-level, which is really, really problematic because some of those mid-level positions, like tradies, like nurses, like teachers, those are exactly the type of people that the US actually need. And there's no legal pathway for those people to go to America to actually fulfill those positions. And instead, you're stuck with either illegals who can never really truly integrate into the system for obvious reasons, or top talent, which is great, but it's obviously very limited. There's only so much talent to go around in the world. So it is problematic for a skills shortage. The PR is separate from residency, which lowers proper legal integration. People will be in the US for 20 years. Even if they're there legally, they might not have a green card because there is literally no residency to PR pathway, which in my opinion is not a good thing. But cultural integration is much higher than Europe. In the US, bro, you're born in the US, you're American. You speak English as though you're native, you're there. Nobody's going to question you. You have Latino, you have Black, you have Asian ancestry. Nobody questions that. It is much, much easier to integrate into America just because of how America was built up, really. And yeah, it's largely due to the fact also that, well, the largest immigrant group is Latinos. Mexico alone is 4 times higher than the second biggest nationality, and there's a lot of Latino countries all the way through. So Latinos, they are Christian, they're European in a way, they're geographically close. It's much easier for them to integrate into America, and they're all going to America voluntarily. They're not like refugees, so that helps a lot as well. But again, very problematic. More on the fact that even if you agree that those people should be going to America, they shouldn't be going illegally. There should be legal pathways for them to go. Like, the law shouldn't just officially be broken, and you shouldn't be okay with it just openly being broken. If you think that it's wrong, you should just change it. But the fact that there is so many illegals is in and of itself a problem. And then there's Canada and Australia. Canada and Australia have a very low illegal immigration. They have some refugees, but not as many proportionally as Europe, for example. And they have largely a mid-level skilled immigration. They have very few low-skilled immigrants in Australia and Canada. Like, no one moves permanently to Canada and Australia to become like a cleaner or something. But not that many move as, I don't know, astrophysics engineers or something, or as actors, because they're all going to America. But the middle level, that's where Australia and Canada shine. Like teachers, nurses, tradies, they move, especially to Australia and New Zealand as well, much more easily, let's say. They have very generous study to residency pathways, but PR is not directly related to residency, but there are many transition visas, and there is overall a high integration, which is good. So Canada and Australia have a better immigration system than America and Europe, in my opinion, but it's just too many people are moving to Canada and Australia. In Europe, the average foreign-born population is 10%. In America, it's 15%. In Canada, it's 22%. In Australia, it's 30%. So there are a lot of immigrants in Canada and Australia, and it kind of masks other economic problems because GDP grows, but GDP per capita falls. That is problematic. So let's deal with the main problem in each. The US, the main problem is illegals. Like, if you want those people in, you should create legal pathways for them to go in. If you don't want them to be in, they shouldn't be in. So, like, either create pathways for them to go, or don't let them in. That's it. Like, there shouldn't be just that many people breaking the law in the United States. Second, there's no mid-level pathways, which is terrible. There should be more pathways for people. If there are teaching positions in the US, tradie positions, nursing positions, if you need those people, you should have more pathways for them to come. And an EB3 visa is so hard to get, and other visas for those type of professionals are so hard to get. It's just it doesn't make sense, and it's not how it works in Australia, it's not how it works in Canada, it's not how it works in Europe. And also, there should be residency to PR stream. It is crazy that someone could be in America for 10 years on a student visa, then a H-1B visa, then whatever other type of visa there is, working for companies, paying for their education, being good law-abiding residents, and not having a PR stream, not getting a green card. It's stupid. So there should be a more clear residency to PR stream. There should be more mid-level pathways for people to get in on mid-level positions, and there should be illegal immigration should be dealt with either by allowing for low-skill migration legally, or by not allowing people to get in. It's very simple. In Europe, the main problem is lack of integration. By far, that's the biggest problem, and it's not attractive enough for talent. All the big companies, all the really talented employees, they all move to America. All of them move to America, and so obviously Europe needs to be more competitive and more attractive. And the problem with Australia and Canada is, even though it's good at selection and it's good at integration, it is excessive in raw numbers. Like I said, America's foreign-born population is 15%, and it's already a lot. In Australia, it's 30%. There's a certain point at which integration is not viable, because there's nothing to integrate to. There's more immigrants, there are locals, and then you don't integrate, and you lose culture, you lose customs, you lose what made you a good country in the first place. So that's very, very serious, that's very important, and is the main problem that Canada and Australia are facing right now. Now, what are the long-term consequences of those immigration policies? In the US, if nothing changes, it's going to reinforce the US hustle culture and risk-taking, because obviously if you're in the top of the hierarchy, if you're like a global talent, you're obviously a risk taker, you're obviously very adventurous, you're obviously very daring. And also, if you're courageous enough to cross the border illegally with your kids, and send remittance and stay in a country illegally for a decade, that also is a lot of risk taking and a hustle culture. So I think if you believe in genetics at all, those people, they tend to have kids that are going to be more like them. And the US is already very entrepreneurial. It's already very much a risk taking country. And I think the people that are moving there, they're going to make it more entrepreneurial, more of a hustle culture, more of a risk taking country. Canada and Australia, if you follow the logic, if middle school immigration is mostly what they have, and it is, like Australia gets a lot of immigrants in that go to become nurses and teachers and I don't know, admin and manager, like mid-level managers, that sort of thing. If those are the immigrants you're getting, then you're going to get a more middle class and security focused society, and that is what Canada and Australia and New Zealand are moving towards. They're already like that, and they're moving more towards that. That middle income, nice quality of life focused, security, safety focused kind of lifestyle. That's more or less what they're going towards. In Europe, obviously, since the main problem is lack of integration, if it keeps going like this, it will reinforce racial and ethnic tensions, which I don't want to see happen, but they're already happening, and it's going to be worse before it gets better, in my opinion, because there needs to be a more sensible way of vetting people who get in, making sure that they actually like and respect the culture of the countries that they're getting into, making sure they integrate, and if they don't integrate, kicking them out. That is very important for Europe. And so, like I said, some of the policy changes, there needs to be more residency to PR and more students to PR streams, especially in the US, but in Europe as well. Actually, no, it's mostly in the US, because, like I said, if you're in the US for 15 years, for 10 years, and you have different sorts of visas, and you're working, and you're a productive individual, and you have a family, and maybe your children are America, there's no reason why there shouldn't be a stream for you to get a green card somehow. Better entry veto to help with integration. That's for Europe. You need to know who's coming in. You need to know if they hate your country or not, because a lot of them do, and you need to kick them out if they hate your country. That goes for every country, but Europe is the one that does it worse. So I'm talking specifically about Europe here. Slowing down on total numbers. Now, that could be useful for all the countries, but it would be especially useful for Australia and Canada. Like I said, 30%, 25%, those are big numbers. Big numbers. And you have to be very careful if you want to keep your level of wealth and integration and prosperity. You just need to be careful. One thing I would recommend, especially to the US, mid-level skill opportunities and working holidays. Working holidays will help other citizens of other developed countries go to the US to maybe fulfill some of the low-skilled labor shortage, which is what Australia does. Australia has a bunch of Italians and French people and, I don't know, Canadians and Kiwis working retail, working hospitality, and that kind of fills the need, which in the US right now is just filled by illegal immigration. So you could use working holidays for that. Since they're from developed countries, the probability they overstay is very small. So that's something to consider. And then mid-level skill opportunities. Again, more and more with AI, with technology, you need practical positions. That's what is in demand. You're in demand for teachers. You're in demand for nurses. You're not just in demand for some high-end cybersecurity professional. You can have that too, but you need to have mid-level skill opportunities. That would definitely help out the U.S. immigration system overall. More cultural exchange opportunities. Again, that's kind of like working holidays for the US. And more age selection like Australia. So Australia has a very stiff cutoff at 45. Again, with the aging population, you can't afford to have people who come into your country at 60. What the fuck are they going to do at 60? Did they contribute? Did they pay taxes? They barely did. And then they're going to retire in 5 years. They're going to retire in 10 years. So having age selection like Australia does, like New Zealand does as well, I think it's an interesting system because it protects your social security system, which is very important as well. So wrapping it up, even though immigration is high throughout the Western world, they boast vastly different levels of skills, integration, and legal pathways to residency. When reform inevitably comes, it is important to understand each country's specific situation and take inspiration in other countries' systems when reformulating their own. So yeah, I think that's pretty much how we could wrap up. How would you reform immigration? Let me know in the comments below.